It can't be voiced enough to me how much we appreciate drivers and your families that do the sacrificing for you to be out there on the roads. You're the drivers that make our business, and you know, you're the most important part of our business.
Welcome to Six Figure Trucker, the podcast where we share advice on how to be successful in trucking and have fun while doing so. We'll share stories, news, and advice on how to earn six figures in trucking, and we'll speak to guys and gals that are already doing so. Let's get to the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. You know, it's closing in on the Christmas season, and of course, we got New Year's Eve coming up. And this is a podcast where we celebrate the truck drivers, the dispatchers, everyone involved in the industry that really makes this country go round. And we've got a special couple of guests for you tonight here on the Six Figure Trucker. We have actually Calvin Norton, the man who got this business started way back when, and Lynn Smith, who was with him at that time. Welcome, both of you guys.
Hey.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Now, let's go ahead and start at the beginning. Calvin, we'll let you lead off there. Was it 1998? 99. How did it come to be?
Well, I know I've told this story a lot of times, but I worked at Bluebird, and I worked on the assembly line. And around 1990, they started a program where the employees, if you had a CDL, you could deliver the buses on the weekend. We worked 4 10-hour days, and on Thursday evening, we would meet at the break room, and they would distribute the trips out, and we would deliver the buses. We'd be in groups, 8 or so, and we had vans that we rode back in. So it was really fun. And
it went from there, because for those of you who may not know, Bluebird, the bus manufacturer, was at that time one of the largest bus manufacturers in the country, and they were headquartered in Lafayette, Georgia.
Right. And they had different locations all over the country at that time.
Now, did you and Lynn know each other at that time when you were there?
Actually, Lynn worked as a custodian,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. And we also played softball together.
Oh, yeah, we did. We did co-ed softball.
But I was driving a school bus for Walker County, and he knew it.
Okay.
And so he asked me if I wanted to deliver buses on the weekends and over the summer, and I said, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, Lynn's been great. I mean, we, just starting out that, we had so many people like Lynn that really helped us get off the ground. Because when I first left in 99 to do that, we didn't have a lot of drivers. I had myself, my 2 brothers, Lynn, maybe 1 or 2 more, and then it just kind of blew up really quick with all the distributors. I already knew all of them and could work on the buses once we delivered them. And they just really wanted us to deliver their buses. So it grew way too fast.
Yeah.
And back Halloween, we had a gathering of a lot of the Norton employees and friends there at the original. Was that the original building?
Yeah, yes, it was. Actually, it's started out in a bonus room at my house, which that only lasted about 4 weeks. It was a location where I couldn't park any buses, so it was a nightmare trying to get the buses in there. So I had to find us a location, and luckily I did find one. It was kind of a rundown place, but we moved there, and at least we had enough parking to park the buses and then distribute them out and get them delivered after that.
Now, you guys had a handful of drivers, 5 or 6 from what we can recollect here. And what area did you guys distribute to? Did you work the whole country back then?
We kind of started out in Georgia, but then we also moved to, remember, Kankakee and
Illinois for Midwest.
Waterloo, Iowa, and
yeah, we actually at one time I had North Dakota and Florida. We took a lot to Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, I remember those.
Now, taking off to North Dakota, in the Midwest, in these school buses, Florida for that matter, I'm sure there were some crazy things that happened along the way.
I wish I could remember all of them, but I do remember a few of them. It didn't matter what time of night. We were always in there at different times of the night picking up buses. And where we had to pick them up at, we had to go over this ridge to get to a fuel stop, which wasn't even a quarter of a mile away. But sometimes there was so little fuel in those buses that we would run out before we got up this hill. So one night around 2 a.m., Lynn calls me and says, I'm stuck here on the side of this ridge and I can't get this thing to start. So I get up and go and meet her, and I get there and I was thinking, well, I know it's got a little bit of fuel in it, but I need to get this bus on level ground. So, and this is 2 a.m. in the morning. It's pitch black, hardly no lights. I said, I need to back this back down to the Bluebird parking lot where there's level ground, and we can make it run then, you know. So I proceeded to, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody really. But I backed this bus, as you can imagine, with air brakes and not really much brakes.
But this is a pretty narrow road over there, if I remember.
It's very narrow, just a little two-lane road. Yeah. And I backed it down, and I knew at some point these brakes, the air brakes, were going to release. And once it does that, as everybody knows with air brakes, you're not moving anywhere. So I only had just a few minutes really to do this. So I had to go really faster than what I wanted to. and it was scary.
What was it like from your perspective, Lynn?
Well, I unhooked my car and I sat on the side of the road and watched it.
And prayed.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was. I felt really bad having to get him up. But, you know, you learn as you go, the little secrets and stuff. And I hadn't been doing it very long, I guess, at that time. And so.
What was the lesson learned from that one? I mean, obviously, that's a very memorable experience.
Well,
don't wait till 2 a.m. to try to go over that ridge.
Definitely.
But I mean, it didn't happen a lot like that. I mean, we'd had instances, but nothing as major as that. That was probably one of the most scariest moments, backing down that ridge in the dark with no lights and just thinking, oh, these air brakes are going to pop and I'm going to be really stranded.
Now, you guys are both, even to 2022 here at the end, both CDL both CDL holders.
Yes.
Both current now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, you guys were telling us a little bit earlier that there was also something that happened for Lynn across the border. We're not talking about county borders. We're not talking about state borders. We're talking about Canada and U.S. Tell us what happened there.
Yeah, well, Calvin calls me up one day and he says, hey, Bluebird's got this special account in Canada. We need you to take a show bus up to Penticton. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm all in. You know, I was all about all over the United States. I was ready to go. Anytime he called, I was ready to go.
Called a lot.
So I had driven all across the country, you know, and I get there to deliver. I think it was around 2,500 miles or something.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I pull up in the Trade and Convention Center parking lot and park the bus, and I get out and go inside to try to find somebody that could check the bus in. I was letting them know that I was there for the show. And so anyway, when I come back out, I noticed that a driver had backed into the front of the bus and hit the corner of it and bent the crossing guard and the crossing gate and everything. And so I'm kind of freaking out. And back then, we didn't have cell phones like, you know, now. We just had the Nextel, the walkie-talkie thing. And here's...
What year are we talking about? It's into the 2000s now?
Early
2000s,
yeah. Probably 2003.
I was going to say 2 or 3.
Yeah,
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Now, this was not just a random driver. There was something significant about this driver.
Yeah, this driver was a repeat offender, evidently, but I didn't know it at the time. And so he's trying to convince me that they didn't call the police in Canada and, you know, being like I am. So I go inside and I talk to him and I say, hey, because I asked him, I said, can I have your driver's license and insurance? We need to exchange that and everything. So I used the excuse to take his license and insurance inside to make copies of them for my company and everything. And they said, no, we call the police. And so they called the police and she said, you'll have to try to keep him here until the police get here. It may be a little while. And so
you became a little famous off of this incident.
Oh my goodness. It was after that, the police came, arrested him and everything. And so the next day I went to the show just to walk around and see the different buses and everything there. And I was standing by the bus and people were walking up and said something and they said, are you the one that detained that drunk driver? He was a repeat offender. And I said, yeah. And they said, well, you're pretty famous in this town.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Famous in another town in another country. Great.
Yeah.
You're listening here to Lynn Smith and the founder and owner of Norton Transport, Calvin Norton. We're just sharing a little holiday cheer as this comes up on the Christmas and the New Year's Eve here. Having a good time here this evening. And wanted to ask you guys, obviously people that are employed here at Norton Transport are independent contractor drivers. There's always been a family feel, a family spirit. And Calvin, is that something that's central to you as far as the philosophy of this company?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I always tried to be a humble person and try to think of everybody. And, when I started this business, I made this remark to somebody that I was going to revolutionize this industry because I'd seen different companies like, I'm not going to mention any names, but they didn't really take care of the drivers. It's more like a job, which I know it's a job, but, you just really got to give back more than that. And I always felt that. And when I started the business, I just wanted to make the drivers feel more appreciated, above profits, just to make sure we took care of them.
And we have known here inside the building, inside the office, here in the operations, you were a driver, and you were a driver first, and what you were talking about there as far as the way drivers are treated, that's something that still stays with you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm still a driver in my eyes, and one of the most joys of being in this business, there's a lot of you drivers that know this, that I enjoy going out and seeing and delivering trucks and being able to see these drivers face to face, and it's pretty remarkable to see the response and everything from it. But I really enjoy doing that.
We know from our interactions with Calvin, he's a man who believes in humility, and we've heard from a number of drivers who've been on the podcast here, the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport, and a lot of them who've met you say the same thing, and they're always very appreciative and grateful of the treatment you give them from Norton Transport. And I want to ask Lynn a little bit about that. The way that you interact with drivers in your current role as a dispatcher and I guess a trainer, for lack of a better term.
Right.
How does the past experiences that you guys have each had help you in 2022 as far as interacting with the drivers?
Oh my goodness. So I've been out there at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and pouring down rain and trying to call somebody that the truck's broke down or something, and nobody on the other end of the phone. So I know what that's like. And back in the day, we didn't have anybody. I mean, people have lives, and they have to sleep and things like that. So we just kind of played it by ear.
We do
what we did. But now I realize not all drivers drive 8 to 5. Mm-hmm. So it is important for them to have, whether you can help them or not, to have somebody on the other end of the phone just listening, saying, hey, I understand where you're at, and I'm going to help talk you through this, or, sure. I'll find something or help you. So I don't mind, helping drivers, even, after hours or anything. I do the best I can because I've been there, and I just want to treat people, the way I've want to be treated, basically.
Sure. I've walked by your desk, Lynn, several times and have heard you on the phone with drivers. And the thing that has stood out to me is you're very honest and straightforward with them.
Yes.
How important is that instead of taking another option and not being direct with them? You've been there. You've been behind the wheel. Still are. How important is it to you to be straightforward with the drivers?
It's very important. We're all human, and nobody likes to be misled. And, that's the first thing a driver wants to know. They want the truth. And I try to do it the best I can. I'm not going to, sugarcoat things. If you want the truth about this business, I'm going to tell you, my experiences and everything I know. And if I don't know it, I'm going to find out. I'll find a answer and answer it for you. But to me, I have loved this business ever since I've started. From day one, it was just, it's been a beautiful part of my life. I've seen places that I would never have been able to see if it hadn't been, for this job. So it's really important for me to pass that along to other drivers and just be honest. Mm-hmm. That's all anybody wants is for you to be honest with them.
You're listening to Lynn Smith here on the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. Right now, of course, you can't see Lynn or Calvin, but we are in the holiday season. Both are wearing sweatshirts, and Lynn has one on that says blessed. And you were just talking about how much this job has blessed you in your life. And what about it from the inside for those people who are, maybe considering going into Driveaway? What about it from the inside, projecting out about this job, has made it such a great part of your life?
Well, for one thing, not only seeing the country and getting paid to do it, I did go to school and get my Class A and did tractor trailer for a while. I did get into the freight business when it was slow. There was a lot of truckers and no freight. My dad calls me from the back of an ambulance, and he's, having a heart attack, being rushed to the hospital, and he said, I need you to come home. I called my company up and I said, hey, I need to get a load to get home. My dad's having a heart attack. So they did find me a load home after I'd been sitting for 2 days without a load. And then I decided, with Driveaway, you're free to do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You decide what you take, and if you do get somewhere and there's an emergency, then we are able to work with you and get you out of there to get you to that emergency. And I think that's what I've really been blessed by this company, just knowing the wonderful people.
I just remember being so excited not excited for the situation, but just for you coming back, because you've just always been such an important part of our business from the beginning. So, It was it's still a blessing.
I love it here.
Now, Calvin, I got to ask you this question. You mentioned earlier that you were going to revolutionize the way this industry, specifically Driveaway, was operating. And, of course, that was back in the 90s, and here we are 23 years later. Did you ever think it would grow to what it is now?
Never. And when I'm talking about revolutionize, I don't mean change it, but just change the way that drivers are treated and making sure that they are appreciated. I know, and there's no way you can please everybody all the time, but, we go beyond helping drivers out. If they have a problem, if it's legitimate, we're going to help them out and make sure they're taken care of.
We've listened to a lot of drivers, the independent contractors here that are affiliated with Norton Transport here on the Six Figure Trucker, and a lot of them talk about what Lynn was alluding to there, the freedom that you get with being an independent contracted driver working in Driveaway. When you had this vision back when you started the company, was that part of it?
It definitely was, because, and I can't tell you, and I still regret it, but I mean, I know it's paid off for my children, but, I worked 40 hours a week, Monday through Thursday, 10-hour days, and then was probably gone Thursday evening until Saturday night and sometimes even Sunday morning, just delivering buses. And I always felt good because, as you can imagine, I missed so many ball games, so many plays, so many things that my children were involved in. And to me, they're the most important thing in my life. So, now we're much better and we don't have to do all that stuff. And to see them interact with their children and they're able to spend more time, that's what I wanted to project.
You're listening to Calvin Norton, the owner and founder of Norton Transport, and Lynn Smith, who's been by his side from back in the early days and been in business now 23, 24 years?
Yes, 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the company has built up to, I think we're sitting at about 900 drivers now, and about 700 of those CDL drivers. I mean, we just talked about whether you'd ever seen that day coming, but Norton Transport has grown into one of the largest Driveaway companies in the country. And I mean, do you pinch yourself? How do you react to where it is now?
There's times that I really don't even know how to react to it because I don't dwell on stuff like that. And, I just take things day by day. But gosh, it's just a blessing to see my children's been such a big part of this. Michael has been a tremendous part of it. And, just bringing him here was the key for us to really moving forward.
Now, being a driver and both you guys being drivers, and of course, obviously, we cannot operate this business without the drivers being the core component of it. And pushing forward, we get on the edge of a new year here coming up in 23. What is your vision as far as Norton Transport and how it relates to the drivers and how they relate back to us as a company?
I mean, I think we just want to continue to do as much as we can for the drivers. I know we do a lot now, but, if we have such a good group of people here and, we always take and we talk to drivers. We're really proud of our location that we have now because it's just right off the interstate, and we invite all our drivers to come in and please share their experiences with us and tell us. I mean, the only way you can learn things is by word of mouth and tell us what we need to improve on. Right. And believe me, you don't have to worry about ever being,
just another number.
Yeah,
that was my thing.
Never. And we don't want you to feel like that. So please stop in. If you have a complaint or something like that and you think you're not getting treated right, if you're ever in our area or, just please come by and tell us, because that's the last thing in the world we want. We just want to make sure we're better than anybody else at making sure you're the drivers that make our business. Yeah. And you're the most important part of our business.
It's obvious that it's important to both of you guys, to take care of the drivers. And we've seen it from the inside out here as far as the interactions with the drivers through the incentive programs, the things that Norton Transport offers for the drivers who succeed and excel on the road. And we're fortunate enough for those drivers who do have the opportunity to come here to the office and get the checks presented to them. Mm-hmm. And I guess why is that important to show to other drivers and other people out there we take care of our drivers?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I just think that we want to make sure these drivers feel appreciated, and we want to take care of our drivers over profits. We try to share. We're doing better now than we ever have, but we want to share all that, and we try to give incentives, yes, to make drivers be more loyal to us. But I mean, we want to reward them for doing that.
Right.
Now, I wanted to kind of circle back what we were talking about, the family atmosphere. The family atmosphere is out there with the drivers, but it's also here inside the building. did that just kind of happen organically, or how did that happen? Because
a lot of work.
I came from the I came here from the corporate world and have never seen anything like it. It's different from any place.
Well, also I come from the corporate world, and when I left, that's one of the things that I thought, punching a clock every day and then punch a clock to go home and have a 30-minute lunch, and you gotta hurry to get back. That's not a great life for me. Well, it wasn't for me anyway. I just like the freedom and stuff we have to do, be more lenient and just not be that confined. It's almost like you're in a prison to be able to earn money and earn good money and just be a better situation.
Not be considered robots. I guess, it's kind of like drivers. Sometimes companies relate to the driver as a driver number. I have several drivers that'll call me up and they'll try to give their driver ID.
Huh.
And, I'm like, we recognize your
We know who
first
you
and
are.
last name,
Yes,
you're not a
absolutely.
number with us. You're
No,
you're part of our family and
absolutely.
everything.
And you look at it from the standpoint of these are independent contractors, and of course with the people here who are part of the family, internally employees. How much do you think, Calvin, that it makes a difference to know that they're not just a number? You don't just punch a clock here. There's more to it than that.
No, I just think that's, that means more than anything for drivers to think, that we really care, and we honestly do. If there's anybody that doesn't think we do, I just really invite them to stop by and see, we always try to greet the drivers, try to make sure we know their names, and they're not just a number. They're the most important part of our business.
I saw one thing that came up a couple months ago. I don't remember the particulars per se of it, but there was a driver that went through a personal crisis with his family.
Right.
And I saw one of the dispatchers kind of took it under her wings and kind of led the charge in helping this driver out in this situation. I mean, and people may from the outside look in and say, well, the drivers are different from the people who are inside the building. You don't see it that way.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I know the one you're talking about, and if there's ever a crisis and it's somebody, unfortunately you can't help everyone because some people unfortunately tell you things that's not true, but when the driver and that they are actually going through some really hardships, we'll go as far as we possibly can to make sure we help out any way we can.
Oh, yeah.
Where does that come from within you?
It's just my personality, and that's not bragging, but I just, I was taught that from my mom and stuff. You just take care of people. If you just think about it, you get paid back tenfold if you really show that they're appreciated and that you really care about them.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about where this company started from, where it is now, and the success that has happened. Do you think it's because of the fact that you still hold true to that principle of taking care of people?
I think so. I want to believe so anyway. And I mean, I've instilled in my children and everyone, and even if the time comes when I'm not here, I just really pray that they do the same way, and I have no doubt in my mind that they won't, because that's the only reason we're successful.
And the Driveaway business is a growing business. It's a competitive business. How do you look forward for Norton Transport to move forward in the competitive marketplace and also to adhere to those same principles?
Well, today's world, it's innovation. Technology has taken over so much, and thank goodness I don't have to be too much a part of that because I would be lost if it wasn't for my son and Justin. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But and my daughter Kate. But they're different. I mean, this is a different generation, and it's a tech world, and without that, you're not moving forward.
Right.
I mean, you've got to try to be ahead of the game a little bit, or you're going to get left behind.
But it still goes down to the same thing. You still have to
Well,
treat
you
people
do.
with,
Yes, no matter how much tech gets involved in it, it comes down to the basic, simple things of treating people right. And if you can continue to do that, you'll continue to grow.
I've seen it firsthand, the technology as far as what we put in the hands of the driver, which ultimately goes to the hands of the customer, but in the hands of the driver, they can scan in the VINs when they pick up, when they deliver, and that also offers a degree of accountability and protection for them. And I'm sure that's something that you support wholeheartedly as being a driver yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it protects us and the driver as well. And we take care of a lot of stuff, little damages and stuff, but we try to figure out ways to minimize that, which will in return. I mean, sometimes things happen, just it's going to happen because you're out there on the road, and we just need to make sure our drivers are protected, because once you leave with a unit from somewhere, if you have, it's too late. It's in our hands now, so we're responsible for it.
You're listening to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. Joining us is Calvin Norton, the owner and founder of this company, and Lynn Smith, who's been by him all along the way. And we were talking a lot about the family atmosphere as it permeates through the drivers and beyond. And one thing that has hit me since I've been here for 1 year is how much this company appreciates the employees and the drivers, but also likes to get out on the road and travel for business and for fun.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, work hard, play hard. That's always been our motto, and we try to make sure people in the office, we do concerts and stuff like that, and try to give back, even not only to the drivers but to the people in our office. And I think that shows a lot. If you've ever come here, everybody's always in a good mood. I mean, and everybody's glad to be working here. To me, that's the best. It makes me just bubble, with joy, because I just like treating people good, and to see them really happy, and a lot of them tell me this is the best job they've ever had. It just means so much.
That's got to be rewarding to you. I mean, to bring up those things that your parents instilled in you as far as humility and what you've passed on to your children, to see the fruits of it reflected in your employees.
I'm not sure how you could ask for more, to be honest with you. I mean, if you can accomplish that in life, I think you've done pretty good.
You're listening to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. Calvin Norton and Lynn Smith here. Now, you said one word that I picked up on there, and I just know this from my time with you that I've been here: concerts. You're a big music guy.
Yes, I'm a big music fan, but I'm a very classic rock type person. I mean, I just don't get today's music. Probably never will, but it's okay. It's what everybody likes. Everybody's different, and that's fine. Just don't make me listen to it sometimes.
I want to ask you guys a question. I think I've asked you this one before, so we'll start with Lynn. We'll come to Calvin.
Sure.
Speaking of music, all right, here's the situation.
Okay.
You're stranded on an island.
Okay.
I believe I have asked Calvin this question. But you have the ability to listen to music,
Okay.
but you're limited to only 5 artists. Now you get their entire collection, everything they've done solo, everything they've collaborated with, groups, extensions of. Give us your 5.
Oh, wow. Eagles. Styx.
It's a tough question. I mean, it
It
makes you
is
think.
Kiss.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. Journey. Journey is my favorite, I think. How many is that?
That's 4. That's 4 solid ones.
Okay.
We're having some holiday cheer here.
One more. One more.
Bad Company.
Yeah. No.
REO Speedwagon.
Yes. I love REO Speedwagon.
I can see that when you guys answer here, there's going to be some crossovers.
There.
Well, there's
Would
so
you
many.
believe Calvin? I had never been to concerts, and until the old office, and Calvin started. There was a few of us, and he had gotten tickets and started going, and so that kind of got me into it. And if it hadn't been for him, I probably hadn't. I think the best one was Journey.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he
We
took you
went
to see Journey?
Yes.
Journey and Def Leppard.
Def Leppard, and
Nashville,
then we went to Kiss in
Oh, yeah.
Birmingham.
Yep.
Awesome.
That was
awesome.
incredible.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to ask you while that thought's coming to you, did you ever think you'd sign up for a job where your boss takes you to go see Journey?
No. I started this job because I love Calvin, but also I just love to travel, and it was my thing. And then being in the office, I still take trips. I might get hurt from time to time, but I still do it because it's in the blood.
It's hard to stop.
Right, you just can't stop.
Once you've been out
just
there, it's in your blood. And if, unfortunately, I've had some knee problems. I've had a couple of knee replacements, and it's sidelined me for a little bit. But I really can't wait to get out there and deliver some trucks and talk to drivers, and that just means so much to me.
Yeah.
Now we've got your 5. Now, Calvin, give us your 5. Now, this is an ever-growing list. I mean, it can change, it can evolve, it can grow. But what would your first 5 be?
Well, number 1 would probably be Journey, but I've really grown to like Def Leppard more since our concert.
Leonard Skinner was who we went to see in Atlanta.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
that was awesome, and they're great. I don't know if I'd put them in my top 5 because I love like the Journey, REO Speedwagon, Bad Company. I really like, and Eagles definitely. John Cougar Mellencamp. I went to a concert at the Ryman with him, and I've always liked him, but to see him in a concert like that, that's probably the best concert. He was really awesome.
I saw him at the Fox Theater in Atlanta many years ago, and I was the same way. It's like, oh, wow.
Gosh.
What a
I really liked him before that, but I was blown away. And I know I've probably already said 5, but there's an artist that...
There's no cap on it.
Okay, no, but there's an artist that I have to tell everybody about that I'm sure a lot wouldn't think was really that good, but my wife and I actually went to the Ryman to see Billy Idol, and I can't think of the guy's name that plays guitar for him. It's been with him from the start, but it was just them. It was like an acoustic set, and it was incredible. So that's left an
impression on you. Yeah. I wanted to ask you this, kind of diving a little deeper into the music, your love of music, live music, and your personality and the way that you want to see people treated. Do you see all that woven together?
It really is. I mean, we've had so much fun, and we try to share it with everyone in the office and try to have a good time. But gosh, music has just been a big part of my life. It's got me through so many hard times. I can name off songs and times that I was down that music pulled me through that. It really made a difference in my life. And
traveling too, you know, I mean, that's all you have to listen to is the radio. And so you pop in that CD and favorite band, and next thing you know, you're
you got to do
500-700 miles down the road,
Right.
Well,
singing with the songs.
That's right.
Lynn, you gave me a good question here because we were talking about, we were stranded on an island. Now you're on the road. Does it change the artist? I mean, where your setting is? Or are you still with the same? Is there driving music?
Bob Seger is probably my driving music. Oh my gosh, I love him.
There's so many. I mean, it's
Right,
hard to.
there he
38
is.
Special to me is
Right.
good. I mean, just the especially. I got to fortunate enough to be able to grow up during the Southern Rock and Outlaws, Allman Brothers. I mean, gosh, I left out Allman Brothers. It's one of my favorite. I love blues, and blues is to me is such a special kind of music because it really tells the story of just being
yeah.
down and stuff like that. And gosh, I just enjoy music.
We were talking about being on the road, listening to music, and one theme we have heard from a lot of the drivers who have been on the Six Figure Trucker brought to you by Norton Transport is when they're on the road, both of you guys have spoken to the beauty of the things you see on the road. But all the drivers in Driveaway, almost to a T, talk about planning. Now, you guys have been on the road. You've had to back down a narrow road in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't see anything. The air brakes may come on. You've been in Canada up there. Your unit that you were transporting hit by a drunk driver. You guys have seen some things. How much does planning go into it from a driver's perspective?
Oh, it's everything. But it comes from not planning, just going out there.
I think planning is really good, but there's so many times in my life that's happened. Things change so quickly that I pretty much stopped planning. But I mean, you certainly you have to have some sort of a plan, but you just got to be able to roll with what's happening out
true.
there and
Be flexible, roll with the
Right.
I mean,
punches.
because there's so many things running out of. I mean, your fuel tank may say you have a half tank, and you're running out of fuel, and you're thinking, "What the crap?" That's why I would really, really advise anyone that's driving to take a. I learned this lesson the hard way: to take a stick to measure how much fuel's in that tank.
Well, and I learned with a string and a washer on the end of it.
Whatever the way,
But-
you've got to make sure you have enough fuel, especially,
Right.
gosh, in the wintertime, it's so brutal for you to run out of fuel in the middle of winter. It's snowing.
We're seeing that right now. We have a few drivers who are stranded right now. They're not stranded. They're in a hotel. We've got a gentleman in South Dakota right now. I mean, you've got that balance between the customer and the driver and his safety, his or her safety. And, of course, you got to balance that all out. But that's a reality. The storm that's coming through the middle portion of the country right now.
Terrible.
And Calvin, being a driver yourself, and Lynn being a driver yourself, I guess the obvious answer is you just have to wait it out. What else can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of choice if you get stuck out there. You just got to make smart decisions and, make sure you're equipped. And don't wait too long, because I've been stranded out there before too, and the interstates are shut down, and you really start to freak out then, but you can't. You got to try to maintain a little bit of, common sense and try to get to a room somehow or get somewhere where you're not going to be frozen or run out of fuel.
And Lynn, you were talking about planning. When you run into, we're coming up obviously on the winter season here, on the edge of Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. In the planning portion, let's say, for example, you've got a 2,200-mile run, and you're going across a couple of states that there's a very good chance there's some winter weather. If each of you guys could speak to it, when do you make the decision? It's like, it's time to put on the brakes, it's time to get to the room, or I can push on. How do you make that decision?
Well,
That's a tough decision.
well, the thing is, women don't take chances like men do. I don't feel like
No, they're smarter.
they're.
I agree with that. They are smarter.
There was a time that me and Calvin's brother was running some buses, and I was a nervous wreck. Roads were covered in snow, and I was towing my car at the time, so I know I had that extra weight on that bus. But we made it to a motel room, and I'm calling Calvin up, and I'm like, I really don't. We can't see the road or nothing. And so we sat there for a day or two, and he's like, can you at least try? And so then I'm with his brother, and of course his brother's like, well, we can see the lines and everything. I don't want to take that chance, but I mean,
it's
just-
scary.
Right, it is.
It's a crapshoot.
Because you're responsible for that equipment.
I know.
And but sometimes you have to just get
You
out
just-
there and
that's the call that's easier for
Right,
the people that
it's-
are in that situation.
Right.
That you know more about your situation.
Right.
And,
It's a
Tractor's
boots,
trailer
it's a
was
boots
the
on the
same.
ground kind of call.
it
Yeah.
really is.
yeah, it's just whatever. I was the same way with the tractor trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one time I looked up and my trailer was right beside my door, coming through
Right.
Chicago. And so I'm like, this time to get off the road. But,
Not a good feeling.
it's just, you just have to go with what you're comfortable with, really.
And when you look at the total company and the industry, when you head into the winter season, I'm sure, Calvin, that's something that needs to be communicated to the customer. I know you want your unit, but
we try to make sure, and we've had enough experience in this that we try to make sure these guys know that they need the diesel additives to keep the fuel from freezing up. And we don't want anyone to be in harm's way.
Right.
We try to really let them know if they have a problem, just please let us know. We definitely don't want anything bad happening to them.
Yeah, we'd
they're more
rather-
important than the truck.
Right. Rather you sit there a day.
Yeah,
Or so
that
than
can be
to-
helped.
right.
Just don't try to push it beyond your limits. But it's like we said, boots on the ground. I mean, you're the one that really needs to make that call, because we're sitting here in Georgia, and you may be in, Wyoming or North Dakota
Minnesota.
somewhere, and it's much different.
now, as we've talked about here, the importance of family and the customs we have here inside the building, outside the building. And Calvin, wanted to ask you, we're obviously coming up on the Christmas holiday and New Year's Eve. What would you want to say to the drivers out there and their families at this time?
Gosh, that we just appreciate them so much, and we try to show that every day. And it's not just a show to try to make people think that. We want people to know that we really do care about them, especially the drivers, because I'm still a driver, Lynn's still a driver, and we know where you're coming from, and we just really appreciate you. We appreciate your families are the ones having to sacrifice. You've been out on the road.
Right.
We know that. We've been there. So I just can't believe anyone could appreciate you more than we do. And we just hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and, a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you the same question, Lynn. You've been there and you've talked about some of these experiences. We've had a good time reminiscing about those. And being in the position you're in now, what kind of holiday do you want to see the drivers and their families have?
Yeah, I really appreciate the drivers. I know that what a sacrifice it is. I remember all the holidays that I had to be on the road, missing family get-togethers and everything. And so, it's just I just want everybody to know that we care about them, and we're here if they ever need anything, and just want everybody to have a happy holiday and safe
Now,
holiday.
being through what you've been through, and you're talking about missing time with family and friends during the holidays, how much compassion does that give you back to the driver?
Oh my goodness! See, I've been blessed.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always heard that you go through things for a reason.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, because I was that driver that was out on Christmas Eve and the grocery stores were closed, and trying to make a delivery at a ski lodge. I was making a delivery at a ski lodge on Christmas Eve, and the grocery stores were closed, and I had a Christmas dinner the next day, and so I know what it's like to miss things, but
Absolutely.
but I knew that I was loved. The company cared about me and everything, and I was doing what I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Things were going to be okay.
Right. Everything is always good, and I feel like we go through things for a reason, to help other people.
I think that's one thing that sets us apart, and it's not bragging or anything like that. We understand what drivers have to go through,
Right.
the sacrifices you have to make. I mean, I remember missing, so many Christmas Eves and stuff like that, because there's certain things that happen, especially if you're out on the road, that you have no control of.
Right.
And just want all the drivers to know that we understand what sacrifices they make, and that we really do appreciate them.
Absolutely.
You're listening to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport, and our guests on this episode are the owner and founder of Norton Transport, Calvin Norton, and his longtime friend and sidekick, Lynn Smith. They're knuckle bumping right now as we speak here. They're fist bumping as we speak. Wanted to ask you, obviously Christmas is on the way. Of course, New Year's Eve right around the corner. Calvin, where do you see the future of Norton Transport and the Driveaway industry?
Oh, I think we try to stay, innovative, and, with the people we have in place, I just see it going further and further, because I think our model is, we're doing it the right way. And again, that's not bragging, but I mean, you take care of people first,
Right.
and I think you're already ahead of the game.
Right.
We're closing out 22, looking forward to 23. It's been a good year. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Norton Transport has been fortunate to experience the best year they've had.
Absolutely. Every year we've grown in leaps and bounds. And then again, I can't do this without giving credit to my son, Michael, for all he's done, and Justin as well. Once we brought Justin on, I knew it was going to be none of the other companies had a chance.
That's a good way to say it. You've listened to Lynn Smith and Calvin Norton, who started Norton Transport back in the late 90s. And, of course, he's taken us to new levels. And how much, as Calvin has really laid out and articulated, how much he appreciates the drivers out there, the work they do, the service they provide. And as we end the year, we certainly want to say to all the drivers, all the dispatchers, all the people who make the wheels go round and round, we certainly appreciate everything you do. And that's the way we want to close out 2022. And before we wrap it up here, Lynn, Calvin, anything you guys want to say as far as to the drivers, to their families, to the Norton family, anything you guys want to say as we wrap it up?
Lynn, you go ahead first.
I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And, if there's anything I can do, I would love to, just reach out. Mm-hmm. I'll help any way I can.
I would just like to add that, and I've already said that, how much we appreciate the drivers and everything, but that just, it can't be voiced enough to me how much we appreciate drivers and your families that do the sacrificing for you to be out there on the roads. And, I hope we can continue to do more and more to help out and give more incentives to make your lives easier. And I can promise you would never be appreciated by anyone more than us. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. And if this is a career you are considering, you guys know how to get in touch with us on social media or any other way here at Norton Transport. We'd love to add you to the fold. And as Calvin and Lynn laid out, we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Six Figure Trucker is brought to you by Norton Transport. Norton Transport is a drive-away trucking company that customers can rely on. It offers excellent independent contract driving opportunities to professional, courteous, and qualified drivers that can provide the kind of service we deliver. If you're interested in learning more about Norton or just want to subscribe to the show, check out 6-figuretrucker.com. That's 6-figuretrucker.com.